Yo, gang, so I've been talking about this one for a little while now, okay? Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. I think I found a new series that I will be talking about weekly. This one is really, really good. I'm surprised by how taken aback I was by this series. I will say it gave me a better version of what solo leveling used to be for me. I am by no means shitting on solo leveling. I know it's getting a ton of hype in the anime, which I expected. But this series is it done so much better. And I'm not here to, again, criticize solo leveling, but I will admit that solo leveling gets kind of boring on the latter half because there's less character growth. This series does it correctly, and there are many more interesting characters. It's not just the main character. There are people within this series that I really genuinely like. So, for those who don't know what Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint is, a bit of a post-apocalyptic series. The main character gets thrown into literally a scenario where the world has ended, it's been taken over by otherworldly beings, and you must basically compete to survive. I think that's the most basic way to put it without throwing the main character's twist in there. So the main character actually has read the book about the scenario that's currently happening, meaning everything that's happening to him or supposed to happen to the world, he's read about it in the book that supposedly he has only read. It creates this really interesting dynamic where he can kind of predict what's going to happen, but as you would know if you've seen any series that has timelines or going in the future, going in the past, you know that interrupting or changing something in a timeline will change what's supposed to happen or what's supposed to be predictable. While there will be some instances and variables that you know about, things will change if you change what's supposed to happen. So it's a great series in that regard. Also, the main character, he is deep layered, but he's also very simple in mind. Like, he has some complexities about his past that make him interesting, but he's also like pretty simple to understand as far as like his outward appearance, what he's kind of likely to say and what he's likely to do, because we know that he has the knowledge of what's supposed to happen. Then you have all the surrounding characters that kind of make up him, and I love this part of it because he knows a lot of these characters from the book. You might assume that these characters might end up to be a little bit bland or boring because he knows their inner workings and how they are, and that's how it is in the beginning. But as the story progresses, you start to like these characters more. I started to like them a lot more because it's not more so about them being like these robotic characters that you would know from a book, like you know their tweaks and their kinks. And while he does, they kind of develop into this family unit, and I absolutely love it. I will discuss my favorite characters, but that's just like, you know, a brief synopsis of like, without giving away too much of what the story is about. If you guys like the solo leveling type, like good story, if you like good character, even the setting is pretty damn decent, I think you'll like this series. So give it a shot. Again, I'm still new to it, so it, you know, would be nice to have, you know, a couple of you guys jump on this train while I just jumped on it myself. But I have caught up, not to the like latest chapter, but I think I just finished, I'm not sure what the season is. I think it's season 3, but basically without spoiling it, skip this next 10 seconds. I just made it to the point where Doja dies as the Demon King. I think this is a perfect period for me to stop and give my like complete review on what I think the series is, what I like about it, exactly who the characters I love, the setting and everything. So let's get into it. Kim Doja, the main character. I love this guy, okay? He reminds me a lot of myself because I'm somebody who kind of underestimates himself sometimes. All my life, I've always seemed like I wanted to be like a main character, and I've always felt like a side character. And I know that's a little bit harsh to say about myself, but I have no problem criticizing myself, and I'm honest. So Kim Doja is like the character for us, right? He's our main character. And the book that he read, which is 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, he knows the main character is Yoo Joonghyuk, which I'm not gonna, forgive me if I butcher some of these names, but I call some characters by the short term so I can say it, because, you know, the Korean language is a little bit difficult in comparison to, like, you know, Japanese language, in my opinion. So some of the names are really hard to pronounce. So I call, you know, Yoo Joonghyuk, who is like the main protagonist of the book, Yoo Joonghyuk. So I relate to Kim Do-ja a lot. And I will throw some criticisms in there, guys, in the midst of talking about this. The only thing I dislike about Kim Do-ja, and it's not necessarily about him, it's more so how the story lines it up. Things do get a little too predictable at points, especially when, again, spoilers for those who haven't read it, you might want to skip this next 20 to 30 seconds. For those who read it, you know what I'm talking about. Him being able to die and come back, it does get a little bit played out at a point. Now, while the story I think is still entertaining, but it does remind me a little bit of like Tower of God when Kun dies and he just comes back. While Kim's is more like obvious, like we know that he has extra lives, it does, like, I don't want to see a character like keep dying to the point where, oh, everybody knows that he's gonna die and come back, right? I hope that, you know, as I progress through the story, there's a little bit less of that. I understand that there's like otherworldly powers and there's otherworldly beings and there's different powers that allow this and that. I get that. It's just that, you know, using the same, not necessarily create fake tension, but create, you know, this tension about this guy's gonna lose the fight or he might be too damaged, but don't worry, he can revive. It plays out a little bit. It's not massive because we know about it, but again, I would like to see less of it. But I think that's it for me. Like, honestly, everything else about him has been like super entertaining. The abilities that he chooses and that he picks and he knows that they're good. I'm just like, well, I wouldn't have chose that. Like when he chose the miniaturization ability, I'm just like, well, I probably would have been like Yoo Joonghyuk, where I would have chose the giantification joint where I can make my limbs bigger and like, yeah. But he, like, obviously his in-depth knowledge, like, has influence on what moves he chooses. And it's nice to know that, like, you know, what I would do and what the main character would do is, like, two different things, right? But I love Kim Do-ja. He's a really good character. I guess I should just continue upon characters at this point, right? We can talk about Yoo Joonghyuk. In the beginning, I wasn't really feeling him. He had this super duper arrogance about him where, like, he gives off main character vibes, like, yo, look at me, even though he doesn't say it, but the way the story's crafted is like, look at this guy. You know, they talk about how ugly Kim Do-ja is and how handsome he is. That bit is hilarious, but Yoo Joonghyuk is pretty much a serious character. He doesn't connect to people, but once you start to learn why he doesn't connect to people, the fact that he has revived so many times, and that, you know, forming relationships isn't necessarily good for his mental health because he's lost people, he's lost love, he's formed all these different things, and you kind of come numb. It reminds me of the family he is from Tower of God. It's like once you live a certain amount of time, you start to care less about like the people around you, and that's kind of what's happened to him. Now, with the introduction to Kim Do-ja, that relationship has obviously changed. And there's this unspoken love and friendship between them that is so well done. I can't really name a series besides like maybe Naruto that I can think about where there's two characters who have this unspoken bond about each other that is really, really well done. And with Naruto and Sasuke, theirs were a little bit, I never really connected to theirs because while they connected like in obviously the first couple seasons of the story, and they were still teenagers and they connected through their trauma, but I never really felt like they were bosom friends. With this story, Kim Do-ja knows Yoo Joonghyuk from reading the book. So he latched on to his character because he knows the book. And Yoo Joonghyuk's fascination with Kim, that it pedals backward a bit, where Yoo Joonghyuk used to be here and he slowly comes here. And when they duo, like in the seasons where they're fighting together back to back, white trench coat, black trench coat, oh, it's so gas, yo. Like, I absolutely love it. So I love their dynamic, and Yoo Joonghyuk becomes less robotic. He treats his companions more as companions. I really like Yoo Joong's character. I can't wait to see like what happens after this, because in the current where it just ended, obviously Kim Do-just not gonna die. Like, that's the thing about being a protagonist. Obviously he's not gonna die, but there's probably gonna be like some type of twist where like he doesn't have like a body or something like that, or he can't get back to the scenarios. That's basically kind of what something I imagine is gonna happen. Once Yoo Joong maybe discovers that he's alive, he'll probably like maybe risk his life to save him, because like the way Kim stole the Demon King essence and like decided to be the one to die, like Yoo Joong just took that, like you could see the emotion in his like whole reaction to everything was just like, he really respects Kim Doja. And I don't know if he's ever experienced somebody like him. It doesn't look like he has. And like the way his mindset is shifting, it just shows the effect that Kim is having on him. So Yoo Joong's great. Definitely one of my top characters. My next top character is Han Soo. Yo, I can't tell you how much I'm rooting for Kim x Han Soo relationship. Han Soo, first of all, she is not ugly. She is very well drawn. I think her and Kim with their black hair, I think they're made for each other. Like, I love their banter, the way they fight together. I love everything about these two as a duo. Like, when they were together and whenever they link up, I absolutely love it. Even watching her, like, having to decide to, like, because he knows that she'll be the one to, like, double down, do what she has to do. Watching her, like, decide to, you know, help kill Kim as Demon King, it was hard. Like, there's another unspoken bond there. It's like the bonds are so well crafted, and without being said so, is like, I think this series has done it better than like almost any I've ever read. And these two are just like so good, especially as like they start off as like, you know, beefing. Han is the first apostle who knows about the book, and you know, obviously we know about the apostles who also read the book, so it also creates different ways of how the story changes, even with Kim knowing it. Oh yeah, there is some people who used to read the story, so that also changes how Kim has to operate. Love that dynamic. But Han Soo, her abilities, her banter, her loneliness when she like decides to go off, like the only reason she's like joins the group or like kind of messes with the group is because of Kim. I think she's great, and I really wish for a Han Soo Kim relationship, I'm telling you. Next is Shin Yu Song. So this daddy-daughter relationship, and we also get it from Gil Young, but Shin, who was supposed to be a disaster, in the beginning, I didn't like it too much, because it's just like, oh, like he's becoming like a bit of a dad to the kids, right? And Shin Yu was like, she's like this little girl who like kind of popped up out of nowhere, and she's supposed to be a disaster, and she's like weak and frail, and it's just kind of like another character to kind of throw to the side. Until we got to the Smurf village. I'm talking about the Peace Land people, okay? When they first get to the Peace Land, Shin Young is watching the regular people who are supposed to be disasters stomp out the Peace Land people, and the way she kind of steps up and like, Kim, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take these guys out, her with a knife, she like goes in, and I'm like, I'm ecstatic. I'm like, okay, little girl, like, you don't want to be carried. You're not weak. You're not a frail little thing. Like, 'cause I thought she would just be another background character. Like, Gil Young is a little bit like that. While he's a little bit cutthroaty, he's not afraid to get in the mix. But I thought she would be like, oh, another girl with another OP ability who's going to kind of be like a bit of a tool. But once she steps up and steps in, is not afraid to get mixy, I gotta give her credit, and I like her. And then obviously you get to see the full version of her and what she is to become. She is one of my low-key like favorite little characters. I love the way she loves Kim, because it's a little bit unconditional, and then her obviously becoming a part of his nebula, his incarnation. There's a bond there that is like she really like cares for this guy like a real older brother. I love their relationship. I can't wait to see her grow, and I also love the bit. I think we all love the bit between her and Gil Young. It's always hilarious. And then lastly, my last favorite character. I'm gonna stop right here. Who do you guys think it is? It's B Hong, man. Like, yo, B Hong from the beginning, I kind of like liked him, but I really like fell for this character after like watching him and Kim really like shake the game up. The Dokkaebi are a super duper interesting concept in general. Like, as far as beings in any series ever, I think the Dokkaebi are some of the most unique I've read about. Like, they are really, really cool. I love their designs. Regular low level to mid level, super duper cool beings. I am enjoying them. B Hong kind of becomes like, in the beginning, a real cutthroat Dokkaebi, and that's how they kind of all are, besides the one who's like really shy and nervous. Like, he's a bit of a breath of fresh air, but they're supposed to be that way. Again, another unspoken thing, starts to care about Kim Doja. Like, only because, you know, I think it only in the beginning, as things got better, it was only because like he's profiting, his channel's getting bigger, and like when he becomes like this huge, like busky looking Dokkaebi, I'm like, okay, B Hong, like I'm happy to see it, right? And then he becomes like mid-level, and it's just like, yo, look at B Hong level up. And then like he's showing up for Kim, he's having his back. B Hong is like obviously not a main character, and he doesn't appear in every chapter, but whenever he's on screen, I'm happy to see him. I love that, like, their side conversations, and he's not afraid to kind of like not necessarily break the system, but go around corners to help Kim. And if you told me that B Hong from the first couple chapters to now would be this guy now, I wouldn't have believed it. But it's a well-crafted character and a well-crafted being. So yeah, I love the Dokkaebi as a concept, but B Hong, definitely top Dokkaebi for me. Now, as far as getting into everything else, I think the series does almost everything right, besides again, I mentioned the Kim Doja death thing. The setting, super interesting. This is what I love about series. You got to create the setting to be interesting. So Seoul as a city, a destructive city is always an interesting environment, because you can always, it's post-apocalyptic, there's destroyed buildings, and then like the second season, how it kind of like exists in the subway. I love the subway dynamic. It does become a little bit claustrophobic as like, they're stuck there, but once they branch out, it gets a little bit better. When we went to Peaceland, that was a great shift, because I was getting a little bit tired of the cityscape at that point, and going to Peaceland, going to another environment, it created a different feel. Then when we got to see Kim and Yoo Joonghyuk as well go to visit the Constellations, I love, even though it's like a small thing, it's just a room, I did like the setting changing for that. I also did like when he went to the underworld. The underworld was a very cool concept. Just move around, right? Like, as long as like, in the beginning, the subway does eventually get a little bit like again, claustrophobic, and the city becomes claustrophobic. But once we get out of there, you open up, and I feel like there's an open world again. And the Demon Castle, I think, was okay. I don't think we were there long enough for me to really like enjoy it, but it was okay. I think the setting is solid. I think the timing of it is solid, and I don't really have any complaints about the setting. Then just again, the creative aspect about it. So I've already talked about the Dokkaebi. I love the Dokkaebi as a concept. The Constellations, the otherworldly beings, the outer gods. Oh my God. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, get creative, bruh. Historical constellation, the fable constellations, like the constellations as a concept, fantastic. I love how they're a part of the story. They're watching TV, they're watching YouTube, and then seeing them react to everything is probably one of the most unique things I've ever seen in the series. How they can send messages, not to mention about the system itself, the scenarios, the coins, all that stuff is cool, but it's the real life interaction. It's like, for them, they're watching reality TV, and I hate reality TV. In this aspect, in the story, oh, this is genius. This is genius level writing. This is genius level concept. Like, again, when I make the comparison to solo leveling is missing like these unique factors to it. Like, this is great because you feel connected to the constellations. Like, in the beginning, you don't know who the constellations are, even though he explains them, and you don't really get to know. You get to see like the same ones pop up, like Prisoner of the Golden Headman and secret plotter and ball general. Like, you get to see all these guys pop up, but once you get to like see them constantly popping in and giving their like opinions and stuff, it becomes like you get used to it and they become familiar. And I love that they're not exactly like on Kim Doja's team. Now, there are some who are completely biased to him, like the Prisoner Golden Hairpin, or like Uriel, who are completely biased to him. But then there's some who like obviously aren't. And in the beginning, when they all like him, it becomes a point where you like, okay, are any of them gonna like stand up against him? Like, because I understand like what he's doing is unique and they like it and it's entertaining, but at some point it's got to become like, okay, like somebody has to go against him. And that's exactly what the author does. It creates a dynamic where he finally has to pick somebody and he doesn't, and he makes enemies. And I love that, because now not only do you have enemies within the story, you've created godly enemies. And again, that's how you keep a story flowing. That's how you keep it interesting. I love when we get to meet the Constellations. Now, I am upset that the historical level Constellations don't have forms, and I get the reason. I get the plausibility shit. I get it. I would have liked to see some of the historical, especially the ones that have shown love to him. I would love to see what they really would have looked like, you know, in their concepts. But I guess like as long as the ones on the next tier, the myth grade, we get to see their designs and stuff, and I'm okay with those. Like I love to see like Sun Wukong, who was obviously prisoner of the Golden Headband, and Uriel. I'm at least glad that we got to see some semblance of what they look like, because that was like the most like intriguing thing. You know, you create that hype when you get to see them react all through the second season. You get to see them always sending messages and react. So I'm finally get to see what these beings look like. Really did enjoy that part of the series. I think right now that might have been my favorite, besides like Peaceland, because I really did enjoy Peaceland as an arc. Small part of it I think was like a great part, especially when him choosing to make his own nebula. And then, yeah, I think like as a overall series, I think it's fantastic, guys. Especially like the expressions. Like the expressions kill me in this series. Like I legit find myself laughing in my chair on my couch as I read this. Whether it's Kim like reacting to something, his expressions are always the best. But and there's a lot of references to other series. I think like Naruto got a reference in this, and I'm trying to remember, I don't know if Dragon Ball Z does, or like there's a couple references to other stories, and that's how you know like the author is like really tapped in and like really does their research. Guys, there's like not much I can say that I don't really dislike about the series. Like, again, my criticisms are the line of predictability, where like even though, you know, we know the main character knows predictability and he knows the story, you can like kind of spell like, oh, like this is going to end good. Like this is going to end good. Like you know when like how things are kind of going to end. I know as we progress, things will probably get more like the stakes will rise, and I'm waiting on that. So I don't have like my criticism as far as that goes aren't harsh. But as the series stand, I think the series for me is 8 out of 10. I'm not completely in love with the art. I think it does have very nice panels, but the art is like, it's good. It's not, but there's nothing that's really blown me away. I think like the Dokkaebi and like some of the creatures are really like some of the best art in the series, but I'm not like super duper fan of it. I just think it's good enough for me to enjoy. So, yeah, I think that's my review of Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. I think I really do love this series, and after I catch up, there will be weekly releases from me. So for the time being, I think this Saturday I'm gonna do a catch-up stream. So if you guys want to join me on catching up to the current chapters, please join me on Saturday when I do the review. I really want to catch up so I can, you know, be there with everybody to talk about the current things. And then I'm going to create a Discord channel for it where we can talk about the weekly stuff that happens for those who do read it. So again, Omniscient Reader Viewpoint, great story, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed my little review of this, and let me know what you think about the series. If you haven't read it yet, I advise that you do, and then you come back and see this. So till then, guys, I will see you soon on Saturday. Again, thank you. Tower of God news, nothing big yet, but I'll let you guys know. So till then, hit that sub, share this. Peace, guys.